Well, following a reported plot to use explosive drones and snipers against attendees at the White House-UFC event Sunday, police nabbed 5 people. FBI Director Kash Patel praising the work of agents he says prevented the attack. Live to CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen. So, Jake, what do we know about the plot and the takedown here?
Well, that's right, Reed. We are getting more details as court filings in these cases are starting to trickle in. According to at least one document, here's kind of how the plan would have worked, allegedly, according to an FBI affidavit. There would have been, Reed, a protest or distraction demonstration on the north lawn of the White House on Sunday evening by this group of individuals who appear that they met all online, started to talk in a number of different apps, including Signal and TikTok. From there, they mobilized to start creating a plan. There are screenshots in some of these court filings of where some of these members wanted other members of, whether it's the sniper teams like you pointed out or these drone teams, to go. From there, the drones would have flown over or as close to the White House as they could have gotten, dropped explosives out of the drones or used the drones as explosive devices, either by flying them into something or something like that. And then from there, once the chaos happened, as we know and we've covered for a couple of days, Reed, there were huge watch parties along the National Mall. Once the chaos from that began, there would have been some kind of gunfire aimed at attendees and singling out, specifically, at least in the case of one of these individuals who was charged as part of this conspiracy to attack politicians in the crowd who have been taking money from AIPAC, which is a powerful lobbying group that works to support Israel. There also then would have been an attempt to kind of breach the White House gates. It's a very well-detailed plan, at least according to these initial court filings. It's not exactly clear to us, though, whether the groups actually had the drones or the machinations to make some kind of explosive attached to them. But at least according to what we've read so far, Reed, thousands of rounds of ammunition, different kinds of weaponry, tactical vests, and other gear were all found in these various people's homes. They were all planning to meet right near Washington, D.C. and Virginia on Sunday and then move down to the nation's capital to execute this before it was thwarted by law enforcement.
You know, you talk about the intentionality expressed in the planning about members who have been a part of AIPAC. That speaks to a motive that would say something about their perspectives on Israel. What do we know about the individuals in custody?
Well, one man's name is Tyson Proper. He's a 19-year-old man from Ohio who lived with his parents. At a certain point in the last couple of days, his family, including his grandparents, said that they became concerned for messages that he had been sending on social media, anti-Semitic messaging, talking about his approval of Hitler, obviously the Nazi leader, and also other people in the chat who this man had been talking to, basically spending most of his days online working on this. He then allegedly, according to this FBI affidavit, started talking to his family about a trip he wanted to take this past weekend. And on June 10th, his family reported him to law enforcement when, after being committed shortly to a hospital for mental issues and suicidology, there was an interview with the FBI where he admitted to this. It appears that some of these other individuals, when they were confronted by law enforcement, also admitted to either planning to go to Washington, D.C. for the event or admitted to the FBI that they were a part of this group that would have launched this plot if it had actually been successful.
All right, Jake Rosen digging into the details, as always, very valuable. Thank you so much. So let's bring in former Deputy Commissioner of the NYPD and CBS News law enforcement contributor Richard Esposito. Richard, always great to have you. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. So what do we know about the unsealing of other indictments?
So in addition to Proper, who led the authorities to this group, 5 complaints were being unsealed as we went on. And we'll learn some more details about this leader called the Shepherd and the anti-government extremist movement that they uncovered when they went into Purper's phone. This would be the FBI, the Secret Service, and local authorities. They moved very fast and in a concerted effort.
You say anti-government and extremists, but again, I go back to what was referenced in that one arrest, and that of the anti-Semitic communications. It even raised the concerns of family members. Do you see a larger plot here that speaks to anti-Semitism?
No. I see anti-Semitism in the language, and it's very clearly anti-Semitic. However, they are a right-wing extremist anti-government group as well. So I'm not looking at the moment at a larger conspiracy. I'm looking at their intent to bring the country backward, as they put it. You know, that's their name, right? The vanguard of the old. To bring the country back to what seems to be a lot of Christian rhetoric. They're certainly anti-Israel, they're certainly anti-Semitic, but that's in the context of their overall anti-government effort, if that makes a little bit of sense for you.
It does. It helps me to have that context that I think is important. It also directs me to what I would assume would be the FBI, the CIA, and other agencies looking at any other organizations they would have interfaced with, no?
Absolutely. They're going to look at that, and they're going to look at where they have a very good tactical playbook. They were going to put drones coming in, create a diversion, have drones come in, and then be ready when people fled from any drone attack to shoot them, secondary attack. So they've learned all this online. They may have influencers. They're going to look at all of those things, certainly.
Talk to me about Signal and TikTok. Those were looks to be the two platforms, the electronic platforms where these conversations and the coordination, even the call out for participants seem to have come together. How deep can we look at these platforms as being a place where we can catch things like this in advance?
You know, TikTok is a place where, with the cooperation of TikTok in the United States, you can catch things in advance. It's been an issue with TikTok over the past and getting cooperation, and that's one of the reasons this U.S. subsidiary, let's just call it a subsidiary,
Right.
has been formed. Signal is a much more challenging issue. When you read the government complaints here, you'll see that they were able to get into Signal because he left the chats on his phone. Signal is end-to-end encrypted, and it is a challenge for authorities to get into Signal. So it's a very good platform to plot and avoid authorities.
Richard Esposito, I'm always honored to get to talk to you. Please come back and join us again on CBS News 24/7. Thank you.